episode 18, where we discuss Undercover Boss, season 2, episode 18.
I don't think that's right.
I think that is right.
Really?
In which MGM Grand was the featured brand, I guess.
Company.
I'm Chris. Sitting next to me is...
Robert Kitts.
I was wondering who was going to...
This one's getting off to a rocky start.
Sitting to my left is...
Harrison Hoffman.
That's it.
Is that the podcast? Are we done?
Yep, we're done.
Okay. Thanks for listening, guys.
Hit the mics. Turn
You
them
can
off.
follow us on Facebook.com/who put this on.
This is when you drop the mic, right, Chris?
Yeah, dropping the mic.
I like that Chris is now also a one-name celebrity.
Yeah. Well, Max Vella is not here.
Max Vella.
Yeah.
This week we watch Undercover Boss.
We
Undercover
already
Boss is an Emmy Award-winning reality series that follows high-level corporate executives as they slip anonymously into the rank and file of their own companies. Each week, a different executive will leave the control of their corner office for an undercover mission to examine the inner workings of their corporation. Undercover Boss on CBS.
The show was not good. No, it was boring. It was real boring.
It was a little I thought it was a little bit boring. There was some interesting stuff, but I kind of agree. It was a little bit boring.
Like, shrink the show to like 20 minutes and screw the whole like family thing at the end, and you got something more exciting. Like, you showed the family at the beginning. Why does the family have to come into the hotel room at the end?
You mean the Undercover Boss's family?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that was, I think part of the conceit of this show is, the boss is learning about the company, but the boss is also learning about himself.
He's going on
Well,
a quest of personal growth and discovery.
I am not in this I'm not in the demographic of the show at all. I get what they're trying to go at is like just modern like middle America family. And
So I guess quick recap: the CEO or COO,
CEO,
President and COO of the MGM
Of
Grand
MGM
Hotel,
Grand.
not the whole company, just that hotel.
his name's Scott, right?
Scott, I think, yeah.
Yeah. So you meet Scott and you see he obviously he drives a really fancy car. He has a really big house. Like, he talks about how his kids, he doesn't want them to be spoiled while his son is playing like on a regulation-sized basketball court in their backyard.
and his daughter was riding horses. There was like a nice clip of that. That's not something that normal people generally get to do because it's really expensive.
Yeah. And so later in the show, they visit Scott at his cheap motel he's staying at while he's undercover. And Scott's excited about all the community service they're going to do, and his kids are not excited. Let's
Not
say.
pumped at all.
Yeah, for sure. They definitely did not look happy.
Well, the context on that is there was some woman who works in guest services who, like, on her break, like on her spare time, goes and takes extra flowers that the hotel has to this nursing home. So this guy was like super touched by it and goes to his kids like, "Hey kids, guess what I found that we're gonna do every week now? We're delivering flowers to this nursing home." And the kids are like, "God damn it!"
I don't know if that actually is what's going to happen. I mean, he did say that.
He did.
But at the end, he said he was just going to donate more flowers.
No, but he also said that he's like, "Hey, is it okay if me and my family come along with you and help?"
Yeah, I think that may have just been a one-time thing.
No, he signed that woman up to hang out with her COO boss every week and his family.
And his terrible kids.
And and when he was telling the kids about it, the daughter was definitely like, "So every Monday?" And he's like, "Oh yeah."
Oh,
the son was just totally like blanked out. He wasn't paying attention at all. So he's like, "Hey, what do you think about that?" He's like, "What do you mean?"
He was playing Minecraft in like his imagination.
His phone, yeah.
He was just like,
Do you think Scott does this all the time? Do you think like every week he's like, "Hey kids, guess I got this great new idea of what we're gonna do.
Probably.
We're gonna do family movie night every week." And they're like, "Okay, Dad," and just blow him off.
He's just like super impulsive about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a once a week thing. I'd be surprised if he's not working a lot more and just like not around a lot.
Hey, he said this was the hardest week he's worked in a really long time.
Yeah, well, he wasn't playing solitaire on his computer.
I mean, also that
Doesn't mean he
statement
wasn't
was probably not true. He's just saying that for the benefit of the people in the audience.
And I mean, there's a different level of work than like actually like standing on your feet all day, where he like clearly isn't doing that.
I mean, it was probably the most physically demanding week of work he's had in a while. That's probably true.
Yeah, that's what I got out of it. It was like this was the hardest week. I was just assuming he meant like physically.
Sure, yeah.
So
And emotionally.
Maybe
See, went on this
I don't
journey.
know.
I mean, so I've seen a few other episodes of the show, and things overall went pretty well in the MGM. You know, like there weren't like the worst thing that he saw was that one of the front desk like check-in people on their break went out and smoked like a cigarette in view of some customers. That was the worst thing he saw the entire time. And then, you know, whatever, that one guy was getting emphysema because they're just breathing in smoke constantly. That's pretty bad too. But usually in this show, like there's some like truly horrible stuff like going on, like, and like the boss is just horrified and like has to hold it in. And, like he goes back to his motel at night and he's just like, God, what am I gonna do? This is a disaster.
So you're saying like employees being bad, or just situations that are really
everything, just like employees doing bad stuff, and like, you know, conditions being bad, like just stuff being really fucked up. And like there's usually a scene, which was not in this one, where like after he's kind of done doing all these roles and starting this thing, he kind of brings in his like leadership team, and he's just like, hey guys, there's all this stuff that's fucked up. You go fix this, you go fix this, you go fix this. And like he starts like kind of doing stuff. But like there wasn't that much that was messed up here, so
Yeah, that's probably why this episode I thought was really boring.
it could have been that, yeah.
So do you think other episodes are more interesting when there is more like problems to fix?
Yeah, I mean, like I think that they're definitely more interesting. I mean, like I haven't seen the show in a really long time, but I remember there being kind of more interesting stuff. I don't know, and we were kind of joking about that one woman maybe being fired for kind of smoking, but there was definitely been people before that, like, I don't think he fired them on the air, but like the little like caption at the end was just like, you know, such and such like left the company a month later or something kind of thing. Yeah.
You have like, well, a month later, maybe we have some time to, you know, turn it around. I don't know.
Well, it takes a little bit to fire someone.
I'd like those little recaps get really dark, like so and so vanished 3 weeks later and has still not been found.
It's like
again.
so and so actually went into a nursing home.
Yeah. It was crazy when that one roulette dealer started talking about Nam, like just at the table.
Yeah.
He was like, "Yeah, man, back in Nam, I saw some shit."
I
Give
get
me
nightmares.
Yeah, I'm like, man, you probably shouldn't be talking about that in front of the casino guests.
It took a really dark turn.
Yeah.
They were just like making fun of the fact that the undercover boss couldn't spin a roulette ball correctly, and like the people who'd bet their money, like he would spin the ball kind of weakly, and then it would land on a number, and everyone would lose. And he's just like raking in the chips that everyone's lost while they're just like glaring at him because they didn't like how he rolled the ball. And then it's all about Vietnam and post-traumatic stress disorder. And it's like, oh, whoa, that took a turn.
And it's all about the smoke in his face.
He was kind of pretending that he felt bad about taking all those people's money, but I feel like he was probably pumped on the inside. It's like, man, I'm making this casino so much money right now.
Rolling in the dollars.
Yeah.
Dollar bills.
Yep.
But to be honest, you're going to get most of the money anyway. Like,
Sure.
there's a percentage of people that leave up, but there's also a good percentage of people that just leave.
There's a
all their
reason
money.
why there's so many gigantic, insane, lavish casinos, because they make a shit ton of money. Because
Yeah, I
you
don't
can't
think
win at gambling when they design the games which are not in your favor.
Yeah, well, I don't think it matters to him whether one dealer is like,
I don't
oh, he's dealing a little worse and just raking in a little more money.
Gotta rake it in.
I liked when he was working with the woman who manned the floor, and they were trying to sign up people for their incentive program. And the incentive is, if you spend $2 in a slot machine, you get a point. If you get 1,500 points in 24 hours, you win like a free buffet dinner and some Cirque du Soleil tickets. It's like you're gonna spend $3,000 at a slot
You don't have
machine
to
in one
spend
day.
$3,000, and you'd probably have to spend like maybe
oh.
$1,000, depending on how much you win and how much you win.
It still seems like a lot of money for
Yeah,
a slot machine.
you could just go buy the dinner and just go to the show for not very much money.
Yeah, I mean, depends how nice the tickets are.
Sure.
I don't know. If they're giving you front row tickets, I mean,
They're not.
So one other thing about the conceit to like to trick the employees that he's not an undercover boss was they told him it was a reality show, and 2 contestants are competing to see who can do the roles better. And they actually had some other guy that we never really got to talk to or say it, who didn't say anything on camera, who was also like the other prospective new employee. And I want to know more about that guy. Who was that guy? Where did he come from? What did they do with him after? Like, was he in on it, or did he think he was on a reality show and then they just told him he lost?
That whole setup was just so unnecessary. I don't know why they had to say that it was a competition in order to convince them that it was a reality show. They could have said, "Hey, we're making a reality show about
about a new employee,
about what it's like to work in a casino as a new employee," and it's like that's it.
Yeah, it was so weird. It was so distracting. Like, what is it? Is that a real guy? What's going on? Is this a real thing?
There'd be like 2 seconds of the guy, the other guy dealing blackjack, and what is going on right now?
Well, when he originally got in his undercover disguise, you just saw like a 1-second shot of the other guy, and it was like, wait, is the undercover boss's new hair dark or light? Because I think I saw both, and I couldn't tell that it was. Oh no, that's totally a different guy. Oh, okay.
It would have been super funny if he tried to play both people. He just changed the hair, and they're like, "Didn't I just train you like a second ago?"
No.
I think he's going to need a little more than a
Would
wig.
he have like
to
a
pull
fake
that one
mustache
off.
at that point too? Or?
Yeah.
That would have been great if he just gets a fake mustache and see whether they notice him or not.
I can't remember which company it was I watched it before, but the boss must not have been very recognizable by the employees because his disguise, he wore like glasses and like a baseball hat, and like that was the whole disguise. Like,
this is actually something I wonder about with this show, because like I think I have a skewed perspective, because I think like I know who my CEO is, and I feel like if my CEO came in undercover, I'd know in like 2 minutes, like, wait, aren't you so and so? And just like the idea that I feel like, and I like we live in Seattle, and so Microsoft's a big thing here, and like I imagine like he's not the CEO anymore, but like Steve Ballmer, the ex-CEO of Microsoft, I imagine like Steve Ballmer going in undercover, and how like completely ridiculous that sounds. Like he would need like a Mission Impossible level disguise to like go undercover, and I just so it's kind of hard for me to start to think about like. How come these people don't know who their CEO? I guess this guy's not the CEO.
Yeah,
so there's and he was new.
Like, if you took the CTO or something in there, and like, you probably wouldn't know who he was if you put on like a wig and the glasses or something. Like,
I guess that's true.
And they don't say they take the CEO. They just say they take like a high level executive. So it could even be like a SVP or something. And it's just like, especially these big companies. I mean, you wouldn't really know one if they weren't in your org.
I'm still trying to imagine what an Undercover Boss Microsoft episode with Ballmer would be. Like, that'd be so amazing. Like, it just would not work at all. It'd be crazy.
Do you think he would like do like a software job? Like they sit him
down
at
he tries the program.
You sit him down at a cubicle and be like, "All right, you go and build this thing. You'll like come back in 8 hours." Like, I don't know. Like, he's got a week. You only have a week for this show, right? Like, there's not much you can do.
I'm just trying to imagine him like blending in with people, like, and it'd just be impossible.
Who would be the funniest undercover boss?
I feel like Mark Cuban would be a pretty good one too.
Mark Cuban would be pretty good.
Like,
we recently watched The Apprentice. Like, imagine Donald Trump going undercover boss.
Oh my god, that'd be amazing.
Like I'd like to see that. I'd like to see an episode of Undercover Boss with someone like Donald Trump, and just everyone immediately knows who it is, and it's just like, okay, sure, Steve.
Just having to play along. It's like Barack Obama goes undercover.
Barack Obama would be great.
Elon Musk, you get him in like installing some like solar panels.
That'd be pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, is there any other ideas who would be like pretty funny undercover bosses?
I mean, I feel like Obama would be so ridiculous.
Obama would be
just
pretty
like
what about Joe Biden?
No, Biden, yeah, Biden would be pretty good. Oh man.
I don't know. I think Barack Obama's been pretty good.
Just like there'd be no mistaking.
Do you think if Bill Clinton went undercover boss, he'd just be hitting on all the ladies like mercilessly?
That would have been great. I would have loved to see that show. He doesn't have to be undercover. I just want him going around hitting on all the ladies. Like he's just going out bar crawling.
So you want Bachelor Bill Clinton edition?
Mistress, whatever. He doesn't have to get divorced.
Oh man.
Yeah, man, the show it was so boring at the end. Like I just wanted it to be over so quickly.
So at the end, he meets all the employees, and he like tells them how great he thinks they are and how much they touched him, and he like tries to do something nice for each of them, but like he kept doing things that seemed like you're the COO of the MGM Grand. Like he offers one lady to go on a cruise. She can go on a cruise with her husband, and he will donate $5,000 to any charity of her choice. Like, why was it only $5,000? I feel like he could have bumped that up a little bit.
I mean, I'm assuming that I don't know if it's out of his own pocket.
It's not. It was from the company.
Okay.
They're saying, but
then yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because in my experience, at least on this show, the gifts are kind of a bit more sort of creative, and less just like, hey, here's $10,000. Like, it's,
I mean, he also got a flight to the UFC
did,
or whatever.
he did, but it would be like for that woman who does nursing home stuff, they would there have been other ones that would be like, hey, like we see that you're super passionate about giving back to the community. So, like, we're going to put you, like your new job is, like, you're in charge of this, like, charitable giving program, like, for MGM Grand now. Like, that's your new job kind of thing. I've seen them do that kind of stuff before, and it's, like, super crazy. Or it's like, hey, you're, like, some low-level dude, but, like, is showing, like a ton of awesome potential and, like, leadership skills, so we're going to put you into this, like, fast-track, like, leadership program with the company. Kind of, like, they've done, like, stuff that kind of, like, helps their career sort of like in a more productive way for some other ones.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, the one lady at the bottom said she wanted to be in HR. He could have put her in HR.
Yeah, well, he could have, but she wasn't that good, so that's probably what happened there.
How good do you nearly be a bottom level HR person?
I don't know.
Shots fired at HR.
I guess. I mean, the company I work at doesn't even have an HR department, so
Lucky for you. They'd listen to this and then do trouble.
Doing all the shenanigans.
Definitely trouble. Yeah, it was weird that the other people got charities donated to, and the one there's like, here's $10,000.
Yeah, have fun.
Yeah,
Hit that strip club.
Hit the strip club. I heard you like strip club. I can't say that on the TV, but here's $10,000 in ones.
Yeah.
Do you take all his sons to the strip club? Because he was the guy who had a whole bunch of sons, right?
Yeah, I think so. You can have a lot of fun with $10,000 at a strip club.
It's like
You sound like Chris. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
No, my lips are sealed.
it's like hey, here's $10,000. You should go put it on black. Like, try and double your money. Oh, boy.
Oh my gosh! I'm just imagining a guy doing that and then losing it. And be like,
Oh no!
What was the end of Fast Five, where the guys put their money in like
Monaco or whatever. Yeah.
and then they cut to black.
That's right.
It's pretty good. Yeah, do we have anything else to say about the show? I don't know.
There's not that much to say about this show.
Was this show worse than I don't even know what the worst show is right now.
Celebrity Apprentice.
Yeah, Celebrity
I mean, like,
Apprentice.
I didn't dislike it. It was just kind of, it was just kind of boring. It didn't really do a lot for me. I didn't act. It wasn't like after Celebrity Apprentice, we're like, God, that show was terrible. Like, I'm so glad that's over.
Yeah, I
it's
agree.
just
Like,
boring.
this show didn't feel bad, but it also there's no like, oh, I can't wait to watch another one. It's like whatever.
I wouldn't go that far. This show was bad. Like, this specific episode was bad. Like, it just wasn't. There wasn't any entertaining value coming out of this. It was just, this guy was real boring. All the other people he saw were kind of interesting, but they were interesting for a couple minutes, and this is like a 40-minute show. Like, I have higher expectations for shows than
Yeah. I mean, stuff wasn't as messed up in this business as some of the other ones, I guess, which would have made it a little bit better.
I mean, I guess when you have cameras all over the place, it's kind of hard.
Yeah, so I always kind of wonder how that impacts the thing, because I feel like cameras are everywhere. People aren't behaving normally. They say things they wouldn't normally say. Like, there's definitely an element, like a weird element, when you just camera crews around, right? I don't know.
That was a good point. It was kind of funny that the front desk lady, like when she found out he was the boss, she was like, "Oh, I guess I wasn't as professional as I could have been by like going and smoking there." But it's like, you were on camera for a TV show.
You knew you were going to be
the
on TV.
boss might have seen that anyway.
Yeah, not super bright.
That's true.
I don't know if she has a bright future in HR ahead of her.
I mean, that's why sometimes on these shows, when the employees are really like behaving badly, you're like, "What are you doing? Like, you're on TV. Like, why are you doing that kind of stuff?" It's insane.
That comes into question, as with most reality shows, how real is this show?
It seems pretty real. Like there wasn't anything so outlandish that I'm like, there's no way that happened.
No, but I felt like all three people were kind of like nice and normal and like.
So I think that they definitely like pre-screen the people that they're going to be interacting with for like interesting backstories and stuff like that, for sure. Like they definitely do that.
That's what it seemed like.
And
but
yeah.
the other thing is, it said we saw 4 days, but he said in the hotel he'd been gone for a week. So it's possible there were like 7 employees he interacted with, and they picked the best 4 to show.
I really wanted to see him with like an alcoholic. Like he just comes to work, and after work he just sits at the bar for like all night, and then he gets up and goes to work, and he sits at the bar, like the cast of Cheers, working at the casino.
They should have had him like be like a maid, like just like make up like a horribly messy like hotel room or something. That'd have been like a good one to put in there.
Yeah, he was very focused on the casino aspect of the MGM Grand and not so much on the hotel part of it.
Yeah.
Do you think he has a lot of say in like? I mean, he's the president of the MGM Grand.
He's the COO. Like he definitely is involved in the operations of the hotel, like for sure.
Yeah, that is something they completely ignored and didn't mention at all ever.
Like nothing about their like any of like their shows or the hotel or restaurants or anything. Like it would have been interesting if he would have been like a stagehand for like David Copperfield, because that's at the MGM Grand.
For Ka, the Cirque du Soleil
Ka,
show, that was
sure.
at MGM Grand.
That'd be
That's why
great
they're
if
talking about it.
he had to be an acrobat in Cirque du Soleil show.
He's our new flying trapeze artist.
Oh my god, that'd be really good.
That'd be a pretty great undercover boss right there.
I don't think that would have ever happened.
Undercover Boss, Cirque du Soleil.
So we usually don't do this with a net. Do you want the net? So do you think like if I'm a boss and I want to, does Undercover Boss come to me, or do I go to them and be like, hey, I think I want to know more about my company? Like, how does this work?
I mean, the first season, they definitely went to the companies because there would have been no way to know about it, I guess. I
feel
know.
like that the TV show comes to them.
It's like it's probably just through like connections for like whoever the production company is for this thing. Like they just, I mean, because it's generally companies where like either like maybe like they're struggling or like they like there's something that they want to learn about their company. You know, it's not just like everything's going great, I'm gonna go undercover. Like that's usually not what it is.
Well, I mean, this one it seemed like he was new, and this is a good way for him to get like know the casino better.
Yeah, exactly.
So like it seemed like it was a win-win for both, but I don't know how it normally works.
Well, I mean, like the company wouldn't agree to it unless they felt like they were getting something good out of it. You know?
Yeah, to let the COO like be off for a week and like not
like and just kind of be airing their dirty laundry on TV. You know,
the smoking in front of customers. Yes, the dirty laundry.
Yeah,
there wasn't that much dirty laundry in this one.
No.
But so the decision to focus on the casino versus the hotel or anything else, do you think that was him being like, this is what I want to know more about? Or is that the producers being like, we think this is the interesting part of the thing?
I don't know.
I mean, it might have been in the contract to be like, we don't want, like, we have, like, final say on what, like, dirty laundry gets aired. So, like, they could have done the hotel side in one of those days and just like, nope, we can't show that. Don't show that.
It's
I don't
literally
think so.
dirty laundry because there's a dirty hotel room.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it seems like the company doesn't have veto power. Just based on some of the other ones I've seen where there's pretty bad stuff happening, it seems like they don't really have veto power over stuff.
I'm sure. I mean, it might depend on.
I guess it could depend on the company. Yeah. I mean, because I remember some pretty crazy stuff. I think I actually did watch the White Castle. Like we were debating watching the White Castle episode. I think I watched someone before, and like there was some crazy stuff going on with White Castle. Like I remember he was trying to use whatever machine like packages up the buns, and like all the buns are getting destroyed and stuff. It's like, I don't know. That's
Oh no!
Oh, the buns.
Well, yeah. I mean, if the CEO, the executive does something bad,
right?
Like that's probably fair game. But if like you show up and like somebody like shat in a sink. Like, is that something that you air on TV?
Totally. Was
it the CEO? Or was it someone else?
No. They show up to a room to clean it, and there's just like shit in the sink.
If somebody shits in a sink on that show, that's the thumbnail of the episode. Obviously.
All right. So next week.
Oh, we already.
I don't know what else do you want to talk about.
So,
I think we exhausted this one.
So we can talk about next week, and then I also want to talk about Breaking Amish for a second?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll say what we're doing next week. Then we're going to talk about Breaking
Okay.
Amish.
So next week, we are going to be doing Love and Hip Hop. I think that this season's New York, so Love and Hip Hop New York. We're doing the current season. VH1's highest-rated docu-series. They don't call it reality shows. They call it a docu-series.
Ooh.
So does that
already
mean it's more fake or less fake?
unclear? It's a docu-series.
Was Tool Academy a docuseries? That was on VH1, right?
Maybe.
Yeah, that was on VH1.
VH1's highest-rated docuseries, Love and Hip Hop, is taking another bite out of the Big Apple and is back for Season 5. Equipped with our core cast as well as some new faces, Love and Hip Hop follows the stories of the heartache, successes, and failures of the lives of New York City's hip-hop scene.
Yeah.
And, you know,
Or-
people on this show have names like Rich Dollars with a Z, or Peter Guns, also with a Z. I saw some insane names on here.
Does
before,
anyone
too.
have a name that doesn't have a Z?
Let's see here. I'm not so sure.
There's a Phalanx with an X.
It's pretty solid.
I just made that up. Nope.
There's one that's Mendeecees Harris, Mendeecees. That's
So is this docu-series like the old VH1 shows? The guy with the big clock on. He always wore the big clock.
Flavor Flav.
Flavor Flav. Is this like the extension of the Flavor Flav kind of shows?
Like, I mean, so I've only ever seen. So I saw one episode of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, and essentially, like, it's exactly what the thing says. You know, they're following some set of hip hop artists, and it's like about them and their biddies.
So it's not like Real Housewives.
It's kind of like Real Housewives.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie to you. It's kind of like Real Housewives hip hop
All
edition.
right. So we shouldn't just watch a random episode and be really lost. Is that what you're saying?
Maybe we should watch the first episode of the season.
Probably.
They'll probably set up the characters okay there.
All right. So
Yeah.
Breaking Amish.
Oh,
Harrison,
God.
what would you like to say after going on the internet after last week's episode?
So here's the thing about Breaking Amish. I'm absolutely crushed because when we watched that show last week, I really, really loved that show. Like, it was endlessly fascinating for me because, you know, there's really something to seeing people just experiencing modern life and just like modern gadgets and screens and just like all that stuff for the first time. Like, there was really something to that. I think it's like, you know, how does this coffee maker work? Like, that stuff was crazy, and like just they seemed like they were so amazed at everything. Like, that was really cool. So Chris, you brought this up on the show that kind of midstream you looked on your phone and there was some controversy about whether or not the show was real. So I did some more digging, and it turns out that the people on the show all were Amish at some point. But like the setup of the show and how they left their communities and sort of came to live in New York City is like totally fake. And like according to a bunch of articles, like and there's documents and stuff, but
Most likely, allegedly.
You know, there's stuff like, you know, that one girl with no teeth and the guy who kind of came from the same community, like they were actually like already together like as a couple before the show started. And there was like that other guy who was kind of like the bad boy. He hadn't been living in an Amish community for years before, and he had another wife and was divorced and has kids and stuff. And like there's all this like there's a bunch of backstory kind of stuff that just wasn't really addressed. Like the setup seemed really fake. Like it seemed like they're coming from only having lived in Amish communities for their entire life, and then all of a sudden they're in New York City, which is much more interesting. But you know, it seemed like they'd kind of been away from the Amish lifestyle for a while and had already experienced a lot of these things. So I don't know. Like, I was super disappointed by that.
Yeah.
I feel like I feel like we have to formally reprimand TLC. Like, they've fucking betrayed my trust. Like, as good as 90 Day Fiancé is, and it's good. Like, this is not.
I mean, we have to come into here. Is 90 Day Fiancé real? Like we have to
Oh,
really
don't,
take that as like
don't do that to me.
We have to ask ourselves
That's a reasonable follow-up question.
if this is so blatantly fake, how real is 90 Day Fiancé?
Don't do that to me, Chris. Don't do that.
I mean, in my mind, I think we have to ban TLC from the show. Like, for at least a while.
I mean,
I seriously do not like any show on TLC we've watched so far. They've all been.
Like both of them were bangers for me until I found out that this one was fake. Like 90 Day Fiancé is a good show. That's a good show.
I mean,
Rob watched the entire season of that show,
I did.
and I've watched like over half of the season of that show. And it's good.
I have not.
So for people who listen, the little slight 90 Day Fiancé detour, people who only watch the episode we watched that we podcast about, you don't meet all the couples, and you're going to meet some new couples later on that are crazy, and it's great.
I mean, Rob, spoiler alert, but does the obviously the old woman and the like younger guy that seemed like a green card marriage, like almost like 98% in my mind? Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they stay together?
Do you need the spoiler, Harrison?
No, you can say it.
Okay. Everyone on the show got married.
Wow.
Now, those ones seems very questionable because, like, so Danielle lies about all sorts of things, and like she's like has so much debt, and she like she doesn't tell him about this, and she like loses her job, and she doesn't tell him about that, and like they get the electricity cut off because they like not paying their bills. So it seems like he should really leave, but he doesn't, and he doesn't really seem like he's that into her or anything either. And so then it's like, why? What reason is there for him to stay if he's not here for the green card? So it seems very questionable.
But like, of course, they had to go through with the marriage because you don't get that green card unless you get married, right?
Yeah.
So
He goes to an immigration lawyer the day of the wedding to get more information about how the green card process works.
Oh, really?
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
You have to be together like intensively for like 2 years.
And
or
the
something?
the entire her entire family is like telling the camera they have no faith this marriage is going to last and it's not going to work.
So even the daughters were saying that because
Oh yeah.
for a while it was just like the son who's like, I don't trust that guy.
No, the day of the wedding, the only person who seems real committed that this is really love is Danielle. No one else. And
I feel
Mohammed
super
seems
bad.
real shady about it.
I feel super bad. Like I felt super bad for her. Like,
Here's the thing, like,
I don't know.
honestly, she's lying to him about a lot of things. That is not the foundation of a good marriage.
that's fair.
So I feel like they're both in a bad situation.
I feel like she was in on it. There's no way she's not in on it.
She's. No, I mean, if you watch the show and see how emotional she gets, like, it's really hard to fake that. I think. I mean, would you agree?
I can't see how she's faking that. She just seems like a really strange person.
She just seems like super needy and
Yeah.
like just wants like a relationship that works. And it's like the reason she's hiding this stuff is because she's scared that if he finds out, then he'll just leave. And like I think that, yeah, she just is really needy and wants a relationship.
But I'm sorry to digress that. Back to the topic at hand. I want to kind of go the other way on this. Is it so bad if it's fake?
It's not bad if I don't know. Like I think like it sucks when the illusion's broken because then I can't really enjoy it anymore.
For me, 100%. If this is a reality show and I get hints that it's fake, then I immediately turn off.
So that's a good point. But like I'm going to talk about something. So in 2014, I was watching some of the stylings of one Mr. Matthew McConaughey.
Sure.
And I saw him as an asshole Wall Street banker. I saw him as an alcoholic philosopher / detective. And I saw him as like a space corn farmer. And he's actually none of those things. And I know he's none of those things. But in the actual watching of it, I'm into it.
So I think
And it sounds like in this show, as you watch it, it seemed real. It's only outside it's fake.
Yeah, so here's the thing. Like I would potentially be in for a scripted show that is about Amish people visiting New York City for the first time. Like I could potentially be in for that kind of show. But then like I know it's like fiction and a scripted show. But when at the outset it's meant to be something that's real and actually happening, I think that it kind of has to be real and actually happening. Like I like a lot of scripted stuff. But
I think that for me, like I see where you're trying to get the angle there, but with these reality shows, like I want to watch something that's entertaining and like kind of is trying to go somewhere. Like when you're watching all these like movies, they're like most of them are trying to like have statements or like they're like showing like cool fantastical things or trying to tell a good story. And these shows are just like sometimes is none of that. Like sometimes entertaining, but they're most of the time they're not really trying to say anything or try to be more than just people. Whether they're usually not actors and they're just being, which isn't that great of an entertainment.
Yeah, well, it's just kind of how do regular people react when they're put in a certain situation, and that's the whole premise for the thing. And when the whole setup turns out to not be real, I think it's just like super experience breaking.
I guess like I would compare it to Celebrity Apprentice, which everyone believes is real in the context of what it is, but the experience of watching it feels really fake because it's like, okay, like watching Kevin Jonas tweet to his 4.3 million Twitter followers is not like really interesting or anything like that. And this, it sounds like from the way you described it, the experience of watching it felt really real.
Totally.
So is it really that bad if during the experience it's good? But
part of the reason that it felt real is because I was convinced at the outset that these were actual people experiencing this stuff for the first time. Like that's why it was interesting.
I mean, I feel like Harrison really bit like he's like really
of course
he wanted
he wanted
to believe. He wanted to believe, so he like ignored so many signs.
There were not that many signs that it was fake,
signs.
Dude. You're fucking
there were
crazy.
So many signs that
no way,
real.
Dude. It was not super clear that it was fake.
No, it wasn't super clear, but there were some signs in there that were like.
It's so easy to say that now.
No,
but here's my thing, and here's
no, but there was one point in that show where I was like, is this fake? And I took out my phone and I Googled it. It wasn't like I sit here before each show and be like, is this show fake? It was like that during that episode. I got to a point where like, is this fake? And I looked and Googled it.
But I mean, like at this point, you kind of know how I watch reality shows. Like I want to believe that it's true, and I'm willing to kind of suspend some of my disbelief to like in order to be able to enjoy the thing for what it is.
No.
Right?
Yeah. That's a much better way to watch this than I do.
Right. So when it's so clear that it's fake, like it sucks.
Yeah, I mean, now it's so clear it's fake that you've looked at it.
Yeah.
But I feel like you could have watched the rest of the season without.
Oh yeah, if you never told me that and I never looked it up, I would have watched the rest of the season and been happy as a clam.
Yeah. So sorry about that.
Yeah.
I asked you if you wanted the bombshell, and all of you said yes.
Well, obviously, if you're gonna ask if you want a bombshell,
gotta have the bombshell.
I mean, it had to be done. It was for the show.
Yeah. I mean, I get it.
Like, how upset would you have been if I was like, after we were done recording, I told you that? Like,
yeah.
I think you would have been equally upset.
I'm just upset because now I can't enjoy this thing that I wanted to enjoy. Like,
Now he has to watch Vanilla Ice goes Amish instead.
Yeah, which that could be real. That guy
that
guy is really Vanilla Ice,
and it's probably more real than that.
Yeah, it's a super bummer, and like there've been other seasons of it, and I don't know if those have been more real. I didn't really look into that.
I think they addressed some of the things. Like if you when I was reading the comment, like the stuff that was going on, it seemed like one day they were like, "What did you had a baby? Look at this picture," and then they like brought it up on the show somehow. I don't know how they did that.
Yeah, like when I was reading a little bit about it, like it seemed like they addressed like their backstories more as the show went, but like it just seemed like the way that in the first episode the show was set up is not actually what was happening before they were on the show.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it would have been nice, like, okay, you're not part of the Amish community anymore. Just like go to your hometown and like say this is where you used to live and this is how we used to live.
But then it's super boring because the whole thing with the show is that they're seeing all this stuff for the first time. It's like, man, these people have never even seen a TV and now they're staying in Times Square. Like, it's crazy, right?
Yeah. Well, this is why. So another point of Rob's here is that I enjoy documentaries and they're like spun out to be real. Sometimes they're not, sometimes they are. Yeah. But like Married at First Sight, felt so much like a documentary. That none of these shows ever feel like a documentary, ever. Like that's the only one I could say that has like had a sense that like they're just out to find out what happens when like you put these people in the situation.
Well, I think you're in luck because next week we'll be watching a docu-series. So prepare yourself for that.
Oh, I'm prepared.
Is that the note we got to end it on?
Yeah, I mean, I think that kind of, fuck you TLC for doing that to me. That's, I think, all I need to say.
Did you tweet at them?
No, I should though.
Should tweet that at them.
Should give them a piece of my mind. Should
need-
write a letter.
they need
It's
to
like,
know.
hey, you remember that show you guys made like 10 years ago? It's bullshit.
Fuck you. All right, Rob, you got any plugs?
Find me on Twitter at RobKits.
Harrison?
I'm on Twitter at Harrison Hoffman.
Find me on Twitter at the Chris Lorenz, and you can find us on Twitter at Who Put This On and on Facebook.com/Who Put This On. Till next time.